Microsoft reports its quarterly earnings after the closing bell on Thursday. So, what should investors be keeping their eyes on? Joining us now to talk all about that is Macquarie research analyst Sarah Hindlian. She covers Microsoft for the firm. So, Sarah, let's talk about this one first. What's the one point that you're most anticipating out of Microsoft's earnings report later on this week? Is there a key, a linchpin, if you will, to what they're going to say?
Absolutely, Dominic. Hope you're doing really well. We think one of the most important areas for investors is really around their commercial cloud business. So this business we're actually expecting to grow 89% year over year. And this really is the business that people are investing in the stock for. So we think that as long as they're able to hit these, basically hit our commercial cloud assumptions, regardless of ongoing PC weakness, we think that's really important to the investor case. And we think that that number could actually begin to annualize close to 12 billion. In other words, it should come in a little bit under 3 billion this quarter based on our assessment of the business and the momentum there. And remember, commercial cloud, Dominic, is really part of their overall cloud transition and involves Azure, Office 365, and some newer released SaaS ERP or Dynamics ERP in the cloud, as well as CRM online. So very important area for investors.
It's interesting you say that because right now cloud computing is somewhat synonymous with, say, an Amazon with their web services and everything else. But Microsoft has been making a huge push. We see commercials for that Microsoft Cloud on television all the time now. So that'll certainly be key. One other aspect I'm curious about here, I mean, we know that overall PC sales, personal computers, have been flat, I mean, at best. Tablet sales, they've also been on the decline. So how well would you say that Microsoft has been responding to these trends? It appears as though there's a secular decline in not just personal computers and laptops, but maybe also in tablets as well. And Microsoft is the software that powers a lot of those things.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Dominic. And I think that's a really a key concern going into the earnings report this week is really around how much weak PCs are going to impact the top line. And coming from our perspective, you know, this morning we released our earnings preview. And in fact, we did trim the more personal computing segment closer to the lower end of the guided range for the quarter as a result of this ongoing weakness. But we do think that overall PC shipment data, in other words, PC shipments into OEMs, are still a decent component of Microsoft's business, but less correlated than in the past with the share price, given that Windows 10 is, of course, a free download. In other words, it doesn't require that you purchase a new PC in order to adopt Windows 10. So we think that Microsoft is really seeking to address the secular weakness in the PC market by shifting to having a larger and more impactful cloud business. Regardless, we do expect that to come into play in earnings this week, that in fact the company is still exposed to the PC market. So we're a little bit below the street in terms of the top line. We're looking for it to be a little bit weaker than the street is, not by much, but a little bit weaker as a result of this ongoing PC secular pressures.
Gotcha. Okay, so those are the things that we kind of know about with Microsoft, the ones that we most associate with them as a brand. But let's talk about some of their other projects here. HoloLens, say in particular. I mean, it's kind of a futuristic pie-in-the-sky technology right now that's not exactly virtual reality, but it could be a growth engine. Given the buzz around some of these new immersive VR-type experiences, how important do you think that the HoloLens project will be as a part of Microsoft's business? We know it's small now, but will it ever get large?
You know, the way that we're thinking about HoloLens, Dominic, is really more in terms of innovating the next consumer trends in the PC market, or in fact in the device market overall. So it's not necessarily that we're expecting HoloLens to become a meaningful contributor to revenues at any point in the near term, but we're really happy to see Microsoft taking a more aggressive approach to really understanding where the consumer usage of devices is trending in the future. And we think that VR and AR are important components of that future trend. So we're really happy to see them addressing that. And this should prevent them from missing a massive shift in the underlying secular dynamics in the market like they did with mobile devices. So I think it's important in terms of understanding that the Microsoft today that investors are particularly interested in is trying to stay in front of computing trends as opposed to playing catch up.
Gotcha. So it sounds like it's going to be a little bit of worlds colliding, at least when it comes to their earnings reports coming up later on this week. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us there and talking a little bit about Microsoft and its earnings report. And thanks for watching. I'm Dominic Chu. Have a great day.
Hey CNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Here you're going to find videos packed with all of the information that you need to be smarter about your finances. You can subscribe by clicking right here and click on all the videos around me or the eye right here to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.